Episode 53, Expose Black's True Identity. Head to the Universe 10's Kaioshin Realm. We got to see some really nice new animation here and some great battle scenes between Goku and Zamasu. We're going to break it down and analyze it. Stay tuned as that's coming up right here on Master Media. Subscribe to Master Media for daily videos on epic fan animations, episode reviews, and sketch comedies. YouTube.com/MastarMedia. So we finally get episode 53 after waiting 2 weeks, and everybody's been super excited about this episode. I was really excited. I loved this episode. It was great. We got to see a little new animation techniques from the company. We got to find out more about Zamasu, and we got to have a lot of questions answered. However, there are a bunch of new questions. Let's get right into this episode and break it down from the very beginning. So the scene opens up, and we get to see Zamasu, and he's pouring some tea for Guwasu, who is his mentor, who is the old Kai who was training Zamasu to become the new Kaioshin. Now, I'd like to point out in the beginning, I love Zamasu. I love the way he looks. I love the way he sounds. He's got a great voice actor and some really cool story going on behind here as well. So the scene opens up, he's pouring some tea, and Guwasu's just teaching him about, the ways to be a Kaioshin. If you're pure of heart, you can pour good tea, which I don't know really what the hell, honestly, that means. But, regardless, let's move past it. So Zamasu and Guwasu are talking about humans. And Zamasu, we get to see right off the bat that he doesn't like humans, which is something that we've known from spoilers in the past. So right off the bat, we get to see some kind of correlation between Zamasu and Black. And as this episode progresses, we get to see more and more correlations between the two. So Zamasu is basically like, why do you like the humans? Like, they are foolish creatures. They do wars, they're terrible beings, and, we're gonna just be easier to destroy them. So Guwasu, his mentor, is explaining, yes, they have some bad properties, but essentially he's saying they have some good ones too. It is our job to create, not to destroy. So the destroyer is Beerus. And Kaioshins are the creators, which I'm not really sure why the god of destruction would have more power than a god of creation, but that's just the way the Dragon Ball story is being told. So that's their story. Let them have it. Whatever. I guess Destroyer needs more power so he can destroy things. I don't know. Finally, Goku and Beerus and Whis all arrive, and Goku can't even contain himself because he wants to go fight Zamasu so badly, which is something that we've seen over and over again in Dragon Ball Super. The second that Goku sees a new enemy or opponent or someone to fight, he goes crazy and he's like, "Oh, let's fight." I mean, it happened with Black, it happened with Beerus, now it's happening with Zamasu. And Zamasu's like, what the hell is a human doing here? He was very taken aback by the fact that Goku was a Saiyan. Saiyans and humans look alike. So also you have to understand that Zamasu is calling him a Ninyang, which is the Japanese translation for mortal human being. He kind of refers to all mortals as humans. It's like human form. Like you would call any character in Dragon Ball Z that kind of like looks like a human, even though they may be an alien, is a Ninyang. But I think it also could relate to just anyone who's mortal in general. But my question is, would he refer to as a Namek as a Ninyang? I don't know. Also, Nameks are more like godly, spiritual beings. We're much more than humans. So I'm not really sure. I mean, as Nameks can create like the Dragon Balls. They become gods to like watch over each other. They have like these grand elders who are kind of connected to the gods. So I'm not really sure if he would call a Namek a Ninyang. But regardless, he's very surprised by the fact that, Goku's here, and he's disgusted by Goku right off the bat, and Goku doesn't really give a crap, he just wants to fight. I love this picture of Goku just like grabbing and like feeling Zamasu. Like, what is that? He's just like feeling his biceps like, ooh, baby. He's like, yeah, you're pretty strong for a Kaioshin. That was kind of homo. But, regardless, that's just classic Goku, I guess. Beerus and Whis go on to talk about Black and who he is and why they're there. They're hunting for information about him. Obviously, Guwasu and Zamasu don't really have any idea. So they go to take a look at the time rings, and they see that all the time rings are there. Now, my question is, they didn't explain the difference between the green time rings and the silver one. Now, there's only one silver one and 4 green ones, meaning probably the silver one is the strongest, which is the one that Goku has. I'm sorry, Goku Black, whatever the hell you want to call him. So hopefully we'll learn more about that in the upcoming episodes. I'm sure they'll explain it. What are your thoughts, guys? Why do you think that there's a green ring? What do you think the difference is between the green ones and the silver one? Obviously, the silver one's the strongest. And I thought this was really interesting, is that Whis was telling Gowasu that they're on a trip to all the other universes. So originally, I thought that, they just wanted to go to Universe 10 because Zamasu had a similar key to Black, so they just wanted to go talk to him and see if the time ring was there and see if there was some kind of correlation. Now, did Whis say this because he just didn't want them to get suspicious of what, that they figured it was probably Zamasu, or are they actually going to go to the other universes and hunt for details? My guess is probably the later, maybe a little bit of both. I'm not really sure yet, but if they can't get their information there, then they're probably going to check out the other universes for information. Now, at the end of the episode, Whis says, that this gives us a lot of insight as to whether or not it's Black, and Beerus thinks, yes, it's probably Black. Should I go destroy him? Well, we'll get back to that in a minute. So the fight between Goku and Zamasu is about to begin, and Gowasu thinks to himself, can he contain his emotions while fighting a human? So there are some interesting hints of something going on here that they didn't talk about. So this is the first hint, is Gowasu saying this. And the second hint is when, after Goku wins, Zamasu gives a very angry look and charges up his hand like this, and you see this purple key coming off it, like he's hiding something. He's hiding some kind of power, some kind of evil emotion. Something is going on there. Gowasu knows it. This was really interesting too, how Beerus was like, if you hold back, you'll die. Now, Goku would never kill anyone, but I did think it was like interesting. He's basically telling him, Goku's strong as hell, and don't hold back, or you're gonna get your ass beat. But I don't think Goku would have ever killed anyone. So I was surprising that Beerus would even say something like that. Before we get into the fight, we get to see Trunks a little bit more, and I'm not gonna get too much detail into this because I really like I want to talk about the important things that happen in these episodes. I don't really want to talk about Mai and all this like dumb stuff, that doesn't really play too much into like the greatness of Dragon Ball Z. I mean, the love story between Trunks and Mai, like I don't really care, I know a lot of you guys don't really care either. But the cool thing about this was we got to see Trunks' reaction to Android 18. So he pulls out his sword. He's like, oh, I'm going to kill you. It really would have been cool if he charged at her and at least something different would have happened. But Krillin, was like, don't do that. It's my wife. I mean, I'm surprised that Trunks wouldn't be like pissed off at Krillin. But at the same respect, this Android 18 never really killed anyone close to Trunks. So if he's able to look past all of that, then he'd be okay. But I don't know. I don't think, if it were me and I killed the Android 18 in the future and then there was one in the past, I'd still probably want to kill her, because he's got to have all these emotions and feelings from fighting these androids his entire life, having his best friend killed, and like all of his friends have been killed. Like most of the Earth was killed off from this woman and her partner. So I there's got to be a lot of emotions behind that, and surprisingly he was able to contain that. I honestly don't think I'd be able to. But let's get back to the fight. Let's get back to the good stuff. So right off the bat, Goku goes Super Saiyan 2. So this is something that they haven't really talked about enough in Dragon Ball Super itself, but the difference between Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2. So in Dragon Ball Z, Super Saiyan 2 was signified by the electricity going around him, and also his bangs would change. As you can see in this picture, he has the electricity, and then in the next picture, it's very clear that his bangs are up and kind of out of the way. Now, Dragon Ball Z, he had one big bang, then he had like the big forehead, and then some kind of hair is coming off the edge, whereas Super Saiyan 1 was just like all the hair coming down in front of him, and that was really how you could truly tell the difference. So Goku says, all right, here I come. He charges at Zamasu. Zamasu just catches his punch. And then he starts using some martial arts techniques where it's like using your opponent's weight and propelling force to use it against them, which is judo or something like that. I'm not sure the exact martial arts technique, but it's kind of cool how this guy he's not really focused around power yet at this point, but he's like a fighting genius, which is neat. So I mean, traditionally all of Dragon Ball Z is all about power, so it's cool that like we're getting to see some kind of like martial arts techniques kind of come back into play, like the original Dragon Ball, whereas Dragon Ball Z and GT and all that was all about like supreme power, and now we're coming kind of back to, you get to see a lot of Goku's martial arts in Super, which has been really cool. Really like it, the way he like wrapped his arms around Black, and he's been doing some cool stuff here. So this is really awesome to kind of see the fighting styles morph and change, and we get to see some kind of new techniques, and we get to see how Zamasu is fighting Goku, and Goku is using his martial arts as well to kind of counter his martial arts. It's getting really interesting here. And finally, Zamasu releases some of the ki that looks like Black's ki. Goku says, is that Black's ki? And he says, no, it's slightly different. So this is my theory on it. I think that Zamasu is black, and the reason why his ki is slightly different is because of the way, as we've seen Black absorbing other people's styles and techniques and keys. I think that because he's absorbed so many people's keys, his ki has morphed a little bit, but the underlying basis of it is it's still Zamasu's ki. That's why it's so similar but kind of different, because he's absorbed so many different styles and powers from other people, which they'll probably explain a little bit more coming up. So then Goku decides, I'm about to turn it on, and he starts overpowering Zamasu. And Zamasu's like, is this really the power of a yin yang? Goku, was probably holding back a little bit initially, which is classic Goku, never fights at full power. I mean, he's not even Super Saiyan Blue, which hasn't even really been using lately, which is kind of irritating me. He just goes to Super Saiyan 2, which is, I don't know why they're doing this in Super. It's actually kind of irritating. I mean, that's like, Goku just always holds back until he's like about to die, and then, I'll go my ultimate form, and it's too late now. Classic Goku. I thought this kick animation was really cool. We got to see some more Goku's martial arts techniques there, and then this fighting scene actually was beautiful. This was, if you break it down and retroscope it, you can see the amount of frames, and it's really cool. Even though like at their level of power, a fight would never really go in that slow of motion, but this looked more like choreographed from some like Japanese or Chinese like martial arts film, but it was still really neat. It was beautiful to me. I love to see it. I love how they're trying to make it dynamic and change it up. And then Gowasu is like, how is it possible that a Nin can even have this much power? Like, he rivals Beerus? That's freaking crazy. And I just love Beerus' reaction to this. Beerus is like, you say his power rivals mine? Like, I'll fuck blast you, Then we get to see some cool images of the fighting. And I want to talk about the animation style here real quick. So as an animator, I see these things. Now, these next 3 pictures that I'm about to show you are all still shots, but they use different special effects in order to make it seem like there's motion. So technically this is a more lazy type of animation style, but it works as long as you combine it with the high frame rate animations like that side-scrolling martial arts scene that we saw. So these three scenes are basically what they do is they add some camera shake, they have a moving background, and they may move their clothes or something and their hair like that. But technically it's still just one shot. It's just one drawn picture that they just kind of like move around stuff so it looks like there's action. So honestly, I'm okay with it. Dragon Ball Z did it a lot and nobody really seemed to have a problem with it. But I noticed that Super, if you see like some of the fight scenes between like Goku and Black, like I'll show a little clip here, these are insanely high frame rates, and like in order to do that, it's very expensive. It's very tough on the animators because they have to redraw and redraw and redraw, and it's exhausting to do that. So you can't really expect them to do that all the time. But I think as long as they mix a combination of the two, that's perfectly okay. I mean, that's very classic animation style, and I got no problem with that whatsoever. As long as they don't overdo it, with the still frame shots, that's just very lazy stuff. Mixing it is okay. And then I just love this picture right here. Goku just pounds Zamasu in the face, messes him up. It was hilarious. Especially, see a picture like this. This is why I love rotoscoping or retroscoping or whatever the hell it's called. Because you don't see things like this normally. But if you slow it down and look frame by frame, you get to see all these like pictures and images and things that happen that you can't really see with your naked eye. But that's just part of animation, is things move so fast that when your brain recognizes it, you don't really see it, but it looks like a fluid motion. But when you break it down and slow it down, you get to see all these like cool little things. And that's actually how I learned how to animate. Primarily, that's why my animation continues to get better and better and better, is because I get to see how they break down each scene. And I learn so much with every scene I break down. I learn and learn and learn. So this was hilarious, and I love like how you can see the like Goku in his eyeball. I mean, they really went in depth with the detail here, and that was just beautiful and awesome. And then finally, Goku slams the punch on him, and that's basically the end of the fight until Zamasu raises his arm like this and charges up some ki. Now, and then Goasu's like, Zamasu, don't do it, But this is again why I think that Zamasu is hiding something here. So I think he's probably got some anger issues for one, and I think he's got a lot more power than he's showing as well. Now I think they're going to go more into detail as to why he's being trained. Maybe, I mean, why is he so evil and he's a Kai at the same time? Like, why does he have these anger issues? You know, we want to learn more about Zamasu. I think he's a great new character. I'm really happy they brought him on board to the story, and I'm really excited about, you know, how his story in particular is going to develop. And I really love the amount of character development that we had in this episode. We got 2 new characters. We got to see their personalities really come to fruition, and this was really exciting. In fact, Whis even talks about that he was suppressing a cold heart. So again, even more insight as to, is he actually black? So I'm going to give you my theory right here as to what I think in my prediction, as to what I think is going to happen in terms of Zamasu becoming black, or how this is going to happen. So Zamasu says, "Son Goku, I will not forget you." So I think after losing this fight to a Yin Yang and being disgraced, Zamasu is going to kind of lose it. So these dark emotions inside of him are going to kind of erupt. I think that he's going to kill Gowasu, steal a time ring, and then something is going to explain how he gets Goku's body. Probably he goes to Trunks' timeline and takes the dead body or something. We haven't really learned that yet. I'm not really sure why. But my theory is he kills Gowasu, he takes the silver time ring, he kind of uses it somehow, maybe travels to the future to get Goku's body. I don't know yet, but this is what's going to happen. And then he's going to start going around the universe, killing humans, absorbing powers, getting stronger, and that's how eventually he's going to become black. And the other interesting thing is he has Gowasu's Potara. Kills Gowasu, takes the Potara earrings, fuses with the dead body of the Goku from Trunks' timeline. And now I'm not really sure why it would still be a combination, like just look like Goku, but maybe they'll explain that. I don't know. We'll find out more. So this was a really, really awesome episode. I loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. I'm about to do a episode 54 predictions video as well. I also got some Berserk video reviews to do because I was in New York this weekend and 2 Berserk episodes came out. So I want to talk about them as we're getting to a really exciting new arc. So subscribe to Master Media. Check out those videos coming out later today or tomorrow, and I will see you guys soon.